Yeah, I mean, I tried to actually get a video, a surreptitious video. The kids are too savvy these days. I was trying to just film, like, I don't know what I was doing. It was like trying to film the side mirror because we were driving, we'd gone on some trip or something, and the whole car was just belting out "It's My
Oh,
Life."
I love that.
But the bonding that happened with that was
Totally.
beautiful. It was so
Mhm.
good. And I'm like, that's it. You can build trust and re-establish trust in all sorts of ways with your kids.
Absolutely. And it is that connection time.
Yeah.
It's just that connection time, whether it be talking, singing, dancing, you know.
Hello and welcome, Quantifolks, to another episode of Fark the Should's little sister podcast, Alchemizing Education. I am Jodie from Quantumama.
And I'm Kerry from Quantum Mama. Thanks for being with us.
Yes. And today, because we were just even riffing on what we're going to title this podcast, I'm feeling like breaking into a bit of Bon Jovi, which is Quanta Kid 4's favourite song to rock out in the car. And basically he's just like, "It's my life."
Oh, I
And
love
feel
that.
like-
I love that. That almost makes me want to sing too, Josie, if only I could.
Well, I mean, why not?
Oh, gosh.
You can.
That really hit me then, because just when we introduced the topic really quickly to ourselves, then you did that. I was like, oh my God, she's nailed it. Nailed it.
Well, I mean, Bon Jovi nailed
Oh,
it, really.
yeah, didn't he?
He is the poet in this one.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's my life. What's that mean, Keza? Tell
Oh
us.
my gosh,
What are we
that
talking
is
about?
awesome. So it's about we all get to own our own life.
Yeah.
And I think that in the world we live in now, for both parents, children, every member of society, there is this need to live our life making other people feel happy, safe, proud of us, successful. And it's taking away the opportunity for us to own our life.
Yes. And when we relate it back to alchemizing education, we're also interested in talking about how our expectations as parents for our children can actually really throw our kids out, because if we do regard them as whole selves that are just pure love beings that have come in with their own set of instructions, with their own hopes and wishes for their own experience, even like at a subconscious or esoteric level,
Yep.
then when we put a lot of pressure on what we want for them, which is with the best intentions,
Absolutely.
it can not be congruent with what their heart
life
and soul
purpose.
is saying.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it throws them, as you said, it really confuses them. They get these feelings within them of there's something not right. And then that goes to there's something not right with me, rather than looking at, or rather than actually realizing that it's the world around them that doesn't see their beauty.
Yes.
And therefore they get taken away from following their own life path as well.
I feel like you were really lit up by this topic, or possibly on fire, as you sometimes get. And most of our beautiful Quanta folks don't often see Quanta Mama Kerry on fire, but she gets fiery.
I do.
Was there something specific that happened or that you observed that brought this into your awareness?
Yeah, there was. It was interesting because I often listen to a lot of things, and people's perspective of it, I kind of go, but I've got a slightly different perspective. And it's not that it's what they're going through or what they're sharing isn't valid, real, and great to hear. Anyway, I was listening to this open letter the other day of this person who was talking about their child who had autism and had been diagnosed with autism, and they were reading out loud on their show this letter about just how heartbroken they were around this diagnosis for their child. And I was listening to it, and of course I could feel their pain and their distress and all the rest of it, but it made me just sort of realise that we have such expectations on our child's life and where we want them to be or where we think we want our child to be. And when a curveball gets thrown into the picture, which is happening all the time,
Yes.
as parents, we suddenly own that as a pain or as a disappointment or as a failing.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, when I was talking to another mum the other day about her autistic boy, and I sort of was talking about, where does all this come from, and what purpose does it serve in humanity? And she basically said that she feels that these kids who are different are here to teach us something.
Yeah.
And they're here to break down what's not working in society.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, that is gold.
Yes.
Because I feel like we have a society which expects kids to fit into what society wants.
Yes.
Now, whoever it is that's driving that in society, let's not go there. But you kind of think that's not fair on these kids.
Yeah.
And humans will evolve as humans are meant to evolve, as do animals and all the other beautiful creatures on this planet. And I think we've become unbalanced. And the focus is on what makes society look good, and maybe parents are worried about what makes them look good as parents, and are they doing the right thing, and are they successful? And we're forgetting about the kids and what they want and what they're here to do. So that's sort of, it came from those two conversations, or those two things that I was part of. And yeah, it just made me think we've just got to listen to these kids. These kids have wisdom around how we're meant to evolve, and the fact that society is actually not serving them.
It's interesting what you're picking up on there, because I actually think there's even a greater momentum happening at the moment. And that is that kids are coming in, they're getting diagnosed by essentially the old system.
Yep.
I really think we're I know that there are some voices out there talking about a new earth and things like that, but there is definitely something shaking shit up out there, right? We feel that in the collective consciousness when we sort of say, is it me? And then you talk to other people and they say, yeah, I'm feeling similar. And so then you kind of go, okay, there's a commonality to this kind of weight or like density that you can feel is moving in some way, and we don't understand it. And so I wonder if, like, what I notice with kids is that we diagnose them, we as a society diagnose them for our own comfort, for our own understanding, for our own resourcing, and for our own needs for permission, right? For, say, needing help and things like that, right? Or needing an excuse so you don't feel like a parent fail.
Yeah.
So all that's going on. But these kids, unless they are in a particularly susceptible space, actually just kind of are like ducks. It doesn't stick to them. Like, they have their diagnosis. It seems to be that it's only if they're entrained to embody the label they're gifted that they actually show up in that space. But I see these kids that are labelled as ADHD, autistic, whatever, right? And there's a whole host of reasons as to why that might be the case. It might be that that's their unique expression. It might be that they've actually got heavy metal poisoning, which we just seem to turn a blind eye to in society all the bloody time. I mean, don't eat canned tuna or salmon, but seriously, we really need to look at what we're putting into our kids' bodies.
Yes.
That's a whole other topic.
It is.
But I just wonder, because these kids actually seem to be impervious to it. They're kind of like just doing their thing and then kind of confused when society doesn't embrace who they are. You know, like they get into trouble at school because they're naughty and disruptive. No one, again, is looking at the fish tank that probably needs a clean or a filter. You know, they're just looking at the fish and trying to make the fish work in that environment. And so I think that there's a lot of what's going on. This consternation seems to be for the parents.
Totally.
Because all of the framework that we were raised with is dismantling. And we don't have a language for it until we hear someone say it and you go, holy shit, that's exactly what's happening. Like, all the things that I have been told to count on are no longer available for me. And so what is coming through the cracks? You know, I think about the cracked concrete and the plant that's
Yeah.
pushing its way through,
Yes.
right?
Just
So
wants to see the light.
that's right. So what is the emergence that's coming through for you when you see these things not fitting? And rather than keep working on our old programs, like as parents, how can we then embrace what's in front of us and perhaps not put so much pressure on ourselves and everything else around us?
Yeah, I think we do put the pressure on ourselves, but we then also put the pressure on our kids to fit in.
Sure do.
And that's where I think the pain point is for our kids,
Yep.
is that we have this feeling that we're uncomfortable and that maybe we're feeling like we're not succeeding,
Yep.
or that we're letting our kids down, or that we're not giving them all the opportunities that they deserve or that we want for them. And because we're uncomfortable, we're asking more of our kids.
Yes.
And that is really, it can be very damaging.
Yes.
It can be very damaging to their sense of self, to even trying to connect into what their purpose might be or what
Yep.
they like to do. Like maybe they like to do things that are different to what you like to do or what you think would be good for them. And so therefore they then shut that down, they push it aside, they decide, oh, maybe that's not the right thing for me. I better do something. I better do what mum's suggesting or dad's suggesting or
Yep.
auntie or teachers or whoever in
Yep.
their life.
Which is not reflective of their inner truth.
Correct. Correct. And that's making the other person feel comfortable. So they shut down what they desperately want to do or what
Yep.
they want to align to. And then that's what they become.
Yeah, so then we're basically curating compliant adults in our
Correct.
children. And
Absolutely.
I can't imagine there are many of us out there that had our newborn child in our arms going, I can't wait to condition this human being
that's
to
right.
society.
Yeah, that was not our intention.
Oh, you're just in wonderment that
Totally.
your uterus grew that and
Correct.
they have 10 fingers and 10 toes and
Yes.
like
And
all
they're
the
just so
stuff.
amazing.
Extraordinary. They're amazing just by their existence.
Yes, correct.
Right. And then somewhere in there, we get hoodwinked into thinking, firstly, we're not qualified for the job of parenting, even though we grew the human, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, no one questions their ability to, cook the tomato they grew in their garden. Did you have a horticultural experience with that? Do you have a permaculture background?
That's so true.
I mean, do you have any qualifications for that stuff? But for some reason, parenting is like, it goes to the jugular, doesn't it? And we are constantly being told we need external things in order to parent, in order to birth, in order to parent. There was something interesting that came up through that, and of course it's disappeared into the ether.
Must have been that tomato.
Damn it.
There was that taste of that tomato on your mouth.
I suddenly thought about my next meal and went, oh yeah, tomatoes. Yum.
That's what fasting does for you, Jodes. You're drooling over the thought of food at the moment.
That's what my life is now. I'm fasting intermittently and I'm either hungry or I'm eating.
Or hangry.
Yeah, or hangry. That's right. That's like that small window of transition. Oh my goodness, it's so funny.
Oh my gosh, we've gone right off track. So the parenting in terms of we have whole children when they're born.
Yes.
And we see their beauty and we just wish for them to be happy and healthy.
Yes.
And with so much joy around them.
Yes.
And then slowly, bit by bit by bit,
we
start to just throw in this little bit of conditioning.
Yes.
And then that conditioning done through pure love intentions.
Yes.
Guilty, Your Honour.
Yes.
We then find ourselves starting to push them in the direction that we think is best for them.
Okay, it came back.
Yeah, good. And these kids then just don't know how to find it for themselves.
I just need you to talk for long enough to get me back on track. So the thing that came through that I think has been a theme we've talked about, we certainly talk a lot about this in Take the Leap in the parenting course that we run, is that, and this is just from observation, right? We don't take action until our kids, the fit is hitting the shan, right? So it's getting seriously ugly out there and we have a child that's misbehaving, perhaps now needs medication as in pharmaceuticals, perhaps is having trouble at school or is doing this very destructive behaviour, whether it's either self-harming or they're doing destructive behaviour with friends and just low vibe stuff that is so out of context of what that baby was like in your arms, right?
Yep.
The thing is that we wait till then and then we want our kids to listen to us as we try and as we become aware of reconditioning them back to their whole self and
Yes.
listening to themselves.
Yes.
And at that point, we have eroded trust with that
Yes.
relationship. And that's what I see happening time and time again is that parents are at their wits' end going, how on earth do I reach my child? You need to reestablish trust. And it doesn't get to be on your terms, it gets to be on your kids' terms. So if that takes 6 months of consistently showing up, then it takes 6 months. Maybe it takes less time. Maybe you say something and you've got a kid that's receptive to the fact that you are coming from that pure intention space of, okay, I see that we needed to look at the fish tank and not the fish. I got it now. Soz. Bit of a parenting fail there, had a misstep, let's regroup. And some kids will come around, but some will take time. And they need to re-establish trust in their parents. They then need to re-establish trust in society at large, by which they were conditioned away from their truth.
Yes.
And then they need to obviously have trust in themselves because they do not have a well-honed inner voice. Like when those kids have been systematically broken down and removed from what their truth is, you know, in terms of that expression. I'm thinking about the kid that, say, is showing up as disruptive in the class. Is he disruptive? I'm thinking he because my most disruptive child is a boy. But is he disruptive or is he a fish that needs a different fish tank?
Yeah, that's
or occasionally a little break to a different fish tank, you know? Is the environment that he's in, which is predominantly education in school, right? So in the institution, is that meeting his needs? And can it be tweaked in some way? I'm not saying everyone needs to homeschool.
No.
But I'll tell you right now, we just keep trying to create kids that are not congruent with what their needs are. And then the message is, you're wrong. You're wrong. And then we get to the teenage years and we go, oh, how come you're not feeling good about yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. How come we don't have a good relationship where you can trust me to come and say something or talk about issues that are concerning you as you grow up? Instead, they go to friends who may not be, and not necessarily not qualified, but just not experienced to know how to deal with those issues. And then they look, as you said before, to things outside of their family.
Yes.
So it is about understanding the impact of these things on your relationship with your child and where it starts to break down, or what are the things that are taking them away from, or taking you both away, distracting both parent and child away from building a relationship of trust.
It is interesting that it would feel, I imagine, just overwhelming as a parent, going, well, where the F do I start?
Yeah, totally.
But I have to say, some of the small practices we have done in our house, which have become apparent as being very effective, is that I make an effort to engage with my kids. So one of the things I've done is I've made an effort to find out what their love language is, because I really like Gary Chapman's info on that. I think, I don't want to put people in boxes, but I think actually it's nice insight.
It's great insight.
And there are 5 key ways to actually create bonds of affection. So even if it's not quite right, you'll garner something by making an effort to either spend intentional time with your child, to use touch in a loving way. Perhaps they prefer gifts. Perhaps they prefer services, as in things done for them.
And then there's the love languages. The words of affirmation.
And the words of affirmation, thank you, because then I normally say, and then there's the 5th one.
Words of affirmation.
I always get 4 out of 5. I'm like 80%'s a pass mark.
It is.
Words of affirmation. So that confirmation that in fact, so whatever that might be, it's not about blowing smoke up their derriere. It's about speaking honestly and truthfully. Even if you've got nothing else in that moment, there might be something you can find. But I make an effort just to engage with my kids, because I think that even at 5 minutes, it makes a difference.
Yes.
Just checking in with them. makes a difference. So
Yes,
that's something that you can add to your day
absolutely.
just as a way to, if you're not rebuilding trust, you're strengthening it.
Yes. And it can also, the thing I think about, 5 minutes in the day is it's actually what we need to be aware of is when it suits them.
Yeah.
Again, it's all, parents have become very good. And again, I'm guilty, whereby you kind of go, well, this suits me better at this time of day because I'm more switched on or I'm more available. But what I also learned to realize is that there's actually a time that's better for them.
Yes.
So where is it that you get that really beautiful connection time? And it only has to really be 5-10 minutes sometimes
Yeah,
if
it's
the days are
enough.
full,
Yeah.
but enough for them to know
Mm,
that you are giving
mm,
them time
mm, mm,
when they want it. Because I remember
mm.
when the kids were younger and it's like, I'm usually done after 8 o'clock. I am not a night person.
Yeah, I used to
And
clock off too.
and
Mm,
and they would always say, "Come and read me a book." And I used to love reading the books. That was not a
mm,
problem.
mm.
But then they'd want to talk.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, this is their best time. But
Mm.
I had to really,
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
and gather up some extra energy and
Yeah.
sort of wake myself up because that's when they were ready to connect.
Yeah.
So it's about recognizing what
Mm.
works for them.
Yeah.
And this is where, sometimes
Again, because
we
it's building trust, right?
building
That's why
trust.
we make the effort to work it for the kids,
Yes.
because we're the ones initiating this re-establishing or strengthening of
Yep.
trust.
Yep. Yep.
I cut you off.
That's okay. No, it's fine. I just think it is about focusing on the kids.
Mm.
And within the world that we live in now, there is a lot of focus on parents surviving,
Yeah.
parents doing the best that they can,
Yeah.
being really busy with trying to juggle so many things that the kids are
Parents doing the
just,
best that they can is actually an undermining statement anyway.
yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
just is. Like,
Mm,
if we said parents are the experts of their children, that feels very different to parents doing the best, which is
yes, true.
essentially someone, again,
Someone else.
the
Yeah.
imposter
Mm-hmm.
syndrome of
Yes.
being in there
Yes.
going unqualified but
Yes.
doing it. I
Mm,
mean, if you're the one that grew the human, you could
yeah.
probably claim rights to being the expert in the
So
human,
true.
couldn't you?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what I've found is sometimes I can't work out when the best time of the day is. So,
Mm,
when I like what part of what I've curated is working from home.
mm,
And so I will check in multiple times
mhm.
because it gives me a little break as well.
Yes.
And I think there are a lot of people that are in that space of
Mm,
working
mm,
from home now, or
mm.
perhaps you've just work has adjusted itself to have a different
Yep.
flavor, which is
Mhm.
again one of the gifts of the Rona time is
Yes.
that we've reimagined how we work and we
Yep.
don't have to compartmentalize all of it. It can
Mhm.
be a bit of cross pollination
Yes.
within that.
Yes.
So there are definitely ways. The other thing that I do, which I know we've talked about before, is we make an effort to parent from a place of consent. And that doesn't mean it's a free for all, lollies for dinner,
Mm,
any of that kind of stuff.
mm,
We definitely pull the parenting card, but it's far more of this, I guess, to and fro conversation where we get to work out what's a priority and what's
mhm,
not. And the reason why I say that is that when I'm working on rebuilding trust, I won't rebuild trust by going, no, no, my time is now. Like,
mm,
it suits me
mhm,
now. It's
mhm,
great that it doesn't suit you and you're in the middle of something. I don't
mm,
care. We're going to have some quality time.
mm,
The other thing I've noticed is that you can actually work this in ways that are like dead time that or in between time that you wouldn't have
mm.
counted, like the car. The
Yes.
car is a
Oh, I
fantastic place
love
to
the
engage with your
car.
kids.
Yes, definitely.
We have our best conversations in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think kids feel more comfortable in the car as well, especially because it's not this, across the table, looking each
Yes,
other in the eye,
yes, which is very
which
confrontational.
which can be very confrontational.
Mm,
And, yeah, we can do a lot of great dreaming and imagining in the car.
mm.
So you can sort of just talk about anything. It's a bit of a riff without actually having, those eyes on you. So
Yeah.
yeah, the car's a terrific place for that.
Well, I mean, it's soothing for me too. One
Mm.
thing I will say that might not actually be obvious to folks out there is we don't have the radio on. We don't have
Yeah,
music or radio on.
yeah.
I just take
Mm.
that for granted
Yes,
now.
yes.
I worked out that, well,
Mm.
when I paid attention to what was being said on the radio over a couple of years ago, and I was like,
You
holy
realise
smokes, this
it's
is unrelenting.
yeah.
This
It's
brainwashing is
fear.
unrelenting.
So much fear.
So much, and so much drivel and nonsense.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was like
Distraction.
eating fairy floss.
Yeah.
It kind of looks good, but as soon as you put it in your mouth, you're like, this is a terrible idea. It's definitely not good for me, and I don't feel sated.
No, there's a lot of distraction, a lot of noise, isn't there?
Sure
And I
is.
think as we know, we love a little bit of silence time.
Yeah.
So, teaching, there's a lot in that, whether it be with the kids in the car and just sitting
Yes.
in silence and staring out the window. God,
Yes.
I used to love doing that with a kid.
Yeah.
And I know, one of yours is
Yeah.
very much like that.
Yeah.
When she gets into the car, she just loves to sit there and she goes off to dream
Yeah.
fantasy land. And
She's got even a mechanism of putting sunglasses on at
yes.
night where she said it makes it all dark and I get to go into my imagination.
Yeah.
I was like, I could not have ever come up with that as a suggestion.
No.
Like, what a brilliant way
Yes.
to hack into her. And she just loves it. And then she
Mm.
goes from there. That's her springboard for actually writing her book,
Yes.
which apparently she's writing at some
Yes.
point. I'll get to read it. Maybe I'll get to buy a copy. I think that's how that's going to go.
Definitely. But yeah, there's those spaces. It's about knowing where are those good spaces and giving them an opportunity to just try some different things in that space,
Yes.
whether it be just as we said, the radio is not great and it's noise and it's distraction and the conversations you can have and the opportunity to sit there in silence. All of those things, whether we be on our own or with our families, are just amazing. I'm talking to ourselves maybe is probably pretty good too. When we're on our own. Nobody
Yes.
argues with you or disagrees.
That's true. It's 100% consensus on all ideas.
Definitely consensus.
One thing that I just thought about, which is actually coming in a nice circular fashion, is, good old Bon Jovi and It's My Life.
Oh, yes.
Is that one of the things that we have done to reestablish trust and just build that connection with our kids is when they do want music, we'll only play it from a source rather than the radio, right? So, so you're using one of your streaming apps and then the kids all get to choose songs to cue in there, right? So there's a bit of a collaboration effort, a bit of coordination and sharing. But then the other thing is that we tend to sing as a family, which is very Von Trapp of us.
I love it. I just snorted.
Gonna take it on the road.
I love it.
But yeah, I tried to actually get a surreptitious video. The kids are too savvy these days. I was trying to just film I don't know what I was doing. It was like trying to film the side mirror because we were driving, we'd gone on some trip or something. And the whole car was just belting out It's My Life.
Oh, I love that.
But the bonding that happened with that was beautiful. It was so good. And I'm like, that's it. You can build trust and reestablish trust in all sorts of ways with your kids.
Absolutely. And it is that connection time.
Yeah.
It's just that connection time, whether it be talking, singing, dancing, cooking.
Yes, cooking is another great one.
It's a fabulous one because you just get to hear what they love doing.
Yeah.
And you get an opportunity to just listen.
Yes.
And tune in. So I think, what we really want most for our kids is to know who they are.
Yes.
And to know what they want.
Yes.
And
when it boils down to it, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Because otherwise life is a struggle.
Yeah.
It can be tough.
Yeah. And money does not make people happy.
It does not.
I mean, it definitely makes it easier to be miserable, but it doesn't make you happy. It's not a guarantee. So this idea of wanting success at any cost for your child just doesn't stack up in this world. We need people that are clear with their intentions, speak truthfully, and their word is their bond, and they are good humans, and they feel good in themselves because when they do that, then the community benefits. They're not in lack. They're not looking for someone to prop them up. They get to contribute in a meaningful way. And that's what we need going forward in our society.
And I think when you used the word before, collaboration, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because when we teach our kids collaboration, they then go out into the communities that they form and they learn to do that again with their own communities and show that that's the way forward. That's what brings us joy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what brings us connection.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Collaboration is another really big one. So we don't have to make all the decisions for the kids. And, I had a conversation the other day with my daughter who were just talking about, where parents sort of step in and start taking control over their kids.
Yeah.
And, she's got so much wisdom to share as well. But as a 20-year-old, she said, oh, yeah, it really depends on the child. Like, it's not even age prescriptive. Like,
Yes.
just because they're 14, they can still actually be in a place where they can make their own decisions. But we sometimes think as parents that, we're the parent, they're only a 14-year-old, so we make the decisions for them. And it really does depend on the child. It depends on the personality, depends on their position, and depends on what you're trying to gift them as a lesson in life.
Yeah.
There are some things you can actually let them take control over and go, you know what, you got this, kid.
Yep.
You make the decision.
Yep.
You find out what it feels like.
Yeah. And we invest that trust.
And that comes back to the trust, is that they then know that they're being trusted with that decision, because that then gives them power for life beyond the family home.
That's right. And I'm even okay, if you use the example of climbing up a tree, I'm okay with them falling down. I do not want them hurt, but I also accept the fact that what is the point of having a life that is lived through someone else's decision making?
Correct.
Like, the kids are not here for that. They're here for the balls and all.
Yep.
They want to have scraps.
Yep.
They want to find out about physics.
They want to understand boundaries.
They want to understand boundaries. They actually want to find out about all the edges and all those things, so that they can actually, make informed decision making going forward. And every time we arrest that from them, we deprive them of their own experience.
Absolutely. Because then when do they get to do that confidently, trusting in themselves when they do leave the family home?
Well, baby bird leaves the home and makes big decisions that you're like, why do they make that decision? It's like, because they've never exercised their own decision making. So if your kids are under 18, empower them to make their own decisions and be prepared to hold space if it, goes tits up, because they need that as well. And, sometimes it helps to talk it through, and sometimes they just are ready to, they're a bull at the gates and they want to have a crack, and you need to let them find out.
And that's okay as well.
And sometimes they succeed.
Yes.
And they defy our expectations of what we think was going to happen.
Correct. And that's why not stepping in their way is so important.
Yeah.
Give them that power, help them build that resilience, help them find that truth and the trust and the intuition within themselves. That's what we're here to do.
Aho, sister. Aho. Beautiful Quantifolks. Oh, another scintillating conversation with this wise woman. How lucky are we?
Oh, we love it. We love it. And we hope that these conversations really resonate for you as much as they do for us, because we see that there's a lot of gold in some of these messages that we hope that some parent or whoever's listening in can just go, yeah, let's just keep that in mind, and let's just keep being there and turning up for our children.
And they are gifted from our heart with no expectation of reciprocity. So if it doesn't resonate, no worries. Move on, leave it. Maybe it's someone else.
Yes.
It's completely fine. It's not prescriptive.
No.
But these things must be talked about, because our kids are here for the new times, and it is our job to drop the shit and invest in them and what the vision is with them, so that we can move out of this place of control and corralling that seems to happen, that we have been so conditioned to, that we then have to get to our 40s and 50s and go on retreats to unlearn. I mean, seriously. Retreats are great, but seriously, let's put them out of business.
Well, there's cheaper ways of doing it, surely.
Yeah, like just learn from the start and do that.
Totally.
Beautiful Quantifolk, a joy to be with you. Until next time, stay well.
See you soon.
Yeah. Hey, Quantifolks. The conversations that we have about alchemizing education are underpinned by our amazing Take the Leap course for parents, which is all about deschooling the parents. If you're keen to deep dive more, then check out the quantummama.com website and find the Take the Leap course. This course is beautiful because it will give you an opportunity to examine where your programs are, where you're creating limiting beliefs and expectations for your child, and it ultimately frees you to be the best advocate for your child that you can be. And that's all of us can ever want for our children, just to love, nurture, and watch them
become the most incredible individuals that we already know them to be. So more info, head to quantumama.com.